Hi there. Just checking in. We're doing things a little differently tonight. I'm Kim again, and Lauren and I are both sick, so I didn't feel like traveling to Louisiana and possibly exposing her to something she doesn't already have. So we're going to go over some things tonight, and I'm going to check and see right now if she can ask me the questions on here so that I can. Okay. Um, let's see, Lauren. You should be the only one on here right now. So let's see what we've got going on. Okay. No. Mm-mm. Okay. I don't have any other viewers on here, so um, uh, this is all such a learning process. I'm sorry if any of this is a bit distracting to everyone. It's pretty distracting to us as well, but we're doing the best that we can, and it's not as much about the aesthetics as it is about the content. Okay, and I am not seeing the live being shown on here somewhere. Let me see. Okay. Lauren, can you see the live going on now? It looks like we have two viewers on. Hi. Hi, Sarah. I'm not sure who else is on. Um, yes, I did my makeup again, Lauren. Thanks. My grandkids didn't like it. They said it does not look like me. So anyway, I thought I would be able to have my laptop open and to type and answer the questions. But since I can't, I'm just going to close it, set it aside, and we're going to go from here. Uh, at 6:30, I will bring Lauren on, and she's going to present some of her information that she has managed to get a hold of this week. I would like to thank Miss Patricia for getting me all of the papers and documents that she was able to send me on the Brittany Mcglone case. And I know it must be very hard to just know pretty much what happened and just not see the justice done. That's Brittany's mother. So, um, Lauren, did you have any questions regarding the um, information that I received about Brittany this week? Yes, Patricia is Brittany's mom. Mcglone. Capital M, small c, capital Glone. Okay, so I think the only thing I can see that's going to be a problem is going to be a little bit of dead time while we wait for questions to get typed. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just share some information that I was given. And this is all part of the record. It's not any hearsay or you know, passed from this one to that one. It's actual paperwork that was filed. And you know, we had talked about where Brittany was coming from, why was she at the boyfriend's house, all of that last week, and I really didn't have any answers then, and now I do. So I know that she was working at the Lowe's warehouse over in, I believe it's Mount Vernon, and it was the very first time that she had stayed over at her boyfriend's house and gone straight there after work and went to lay down and take a nap because she had been working all night on the night shift at the Lowe's warehouse. And she knew that the boyfriend was going to be gone that day. Him and his dad were going to pick up a relative in Dallas, I believe. And of course, his mother was going to be at work, sister and siblings would all be at school. So it was just going to be her there by herself. And she got there and went and laid down and went to sleep. And then that's, when everything transpired is after the boyfriend had left and there was no one else there at the house except her. She felt safe, obviously, or she would not have gone there, I'm sure. She felt like, everything would be okay. There was not going to be a bunch of traffic coming through in and out. And excuse me, let me grab a little drink real quick. Hi, Julie. Welcome. Welcome back, Sarah. So anyway, she's there. She's taking a nap. Just the things that I was reading on here was really disconcerting. Like they put the boyfriend and his father and family through a lot of questioning. They willingly took a lie detector test and passed, stating that they had nothing to do with what happened to Brittany. And the only person that, had been there by themselves that day was a man named Chad Carr. Chad Carr was the boyfriend of Brittany's boyfriend's sister. I know that's a lot of connection, but that was where he fit in. And from what I understood, he was very angry because they were allowing Brittany to take a nap there and to stay over when he was not allowed to. And anyway, there was a lot of time that was just not accounted for. A lot of his story did not remain the same when questioned by law enforcement. So, does anyone have any questions they would like to throw at me right now? The boyfriend and his family were home whenever she got there. That Lauren asked how Brittany was let into the house. They were home when she got there after work, and she worked overnight the night shift, and she got there before they left. So that's how she was let into the house. Um, I think there was some focus that was thrown off by, you know, another person was supposed to stop by but didn't. Um, that day there was a transaction between the boyfriend and another gentleman that was supposed to stop by, but he never came by. So she did fall asleep in the boyfriend's bedroom. Yes, Julie, that's correct. They were there in the morning, but they weren't there uh, after she went to sleep. She went in and went to sleep, and they left to go to Dallas. The mom went to work in town in Winsboro, and uh, the dad and the boyfriend went to Dallas to pick up a relative, and they didn't find her until they got back. Much later in the day, from what I could understand from the papers that I had read. Chad Carr had shown up that morning to pick up a W-2 or something from for his girlfriend, and that was Brittany's boyfriend's sister. Her name is Velva, and so he went by to pick that up, and it's whenever he realized that that Brittany was going to be staying there, and I think that angered him somehow. But not knowing his motive or his reasoning, I have no idea. But that's kind of what I gathered. And then just finding out some other interesting facts that whenever the boyfriend had been into trouble, or not the boyfriend, I'm sorry, Chad Carr had been in trouble before and had been represented. It's CARR, Lauren. So anyway, the Chad Carr said that the only two times he had been in Velva's house on the day of the murder was that morning when he picked up the W-2 and when he and Velva came back that evening. But Velva stated that when Carr picked her up that day from school, she could smell her body wash on him and asked if he had taken a shower at her house, which, I'm sure she would have thought was really strange considering she wasn't at her house and neither were her parents. Yeah, apparently he was an adult and she was still in high school. So, anyway, that, was in 2007. The injuries to Brittany were, let me find that point. I know there was blunt force traumas. I know she was badly beaten. Because that was the first thing the boyfriend noticed, was that she was still in his bed and she was covered in blood. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find that so I can answer your question. Exactly, Sarah. And I'm sure that's exactly what his girlfriend was thinking. Why do you smell like my body wash? Kind of just gives you the ick to think that not only did he do what he did, but then he had the audacity to stay there and take a shower. Ugh. I'm trying to find the list of Brittany's injuries. I know that I do know that she was hit in the head. Yes, Julie, someone did drop the ball, actually. Sorry. Yeah, someone did drop the ball, in fact. The arrest that happened based on the evidence that they already had in 2007 was in 2022. They arrested Chad Carr and charged him with capital murder, however, when the district attorney, Angela Albers, took the evidence before the grand jury, and of course, nobody can be in there with the grand jury to hear what they hear, so nobody will know what actually got presented to the grand jury, but they did not indict him. And based on what I can see, I cannot imagine them not indicting him. Well, it turns out that based on the information that I have and the paper trail that is the legal system, Chad Carr had been represented by someone in Angela Albert's office at a different time over a different charge, and they were, and that person still works for the district attorney's office. I know it's been suggested about, him being represented, but I don't think about related to anyone in the district attorney's office. Okay. I mean, I can read this off. It's just this is an interview with Chad Carr. This was in 2007, on September the 8th of 2022. Texas Ranger John Vance spoke with Chad Carr at the Wood County Sheriff's Office. Before the interview began, Vance read Carr his Miranda warning, which Carr stated he understood his rights and agreed to speak with Vance without an attorney present. Carr was hesitant to speak in the interview room, so arrangements were made so Ranger Vance and Carr could speak outside in the parking lot of the sheriff's office. Never heard of anyone making those kind of arrangements before for a questioning, but interesting. Once Ranger Vance and Carr were outside, Vance asked Carr what his concerns were. Carr stated that back in 2007, they locked me up and I stayed there for a little over a year. Vance asked Carr what he got locked for, and Carr stated that it was, at first, a sexual assault, but ended up being aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury. Carr spoke about the Attorney General's office, was the one prosecuting the case because his court-appointed attorney had started working for the DA's office here in Wood County. Carr then spoke about getting his DNA tested, and that one day his lawyer called and told him that his DNA didn't match anything. Vance and Carr then spoke about DNA technology and advances that had been made. Carr went on to say that he had been in that house and in that room so many times. Ranger Vance and Carr began to speak about Carr dating Velva, and Vance stated that he would expect Carr's DNA to be in the common areas of the house. Because he had been in the house before. Carr agreed. Carr then stated that he had been in every room of the house and had even went and sat on Jeff's bed before. Carr agreed. Carr then stated that he had been in every room in the house and that he had even gone and sat on Jeff's bed before. Jeff's house, that's the boyfriend. Jeff's the boyfriend's name. Where she was sleeping at his house. Vance asked Carr about his and Brittany's relationship, and Carr advised they didn't really even talk. He didn't even remember her being at the house but a few times. Yes, Lauren, Jeff was Brittany's boyfriend, and Carr was Jeff's sister. I knew this was Stogner. The house is in Winsboro. From what I gather, it's somewhat out in the country, but I mean, a lot of stuff is out in the country here. And he went by there that morning early, like not too long after she got off work, I would assume. So, I do not know anything about Carr's record at this point. That's something I'm going to work on this week, is finding out. We do know that he had been charged with animal abuse. I have a list of different charges that he has been charged with. Criminal docket. Okay. The state's notice of intent to introduce evidence of extraneous crimes, wrongs, and bad acts. And this is filed in 2000, and I'm really having struggle reading that. Okay. This was... These are just some of the things that he is charged with. Yeah, animal abuse already had me because it's horrible. On or about April 29th of 2002, in Wood County, Texas, the defendant was convicted of an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in a case. On or about May 26th of 2000, in Wood County, Texas, the defendant was placed on deferred education probation for burglary of a building in a case. On April 29th of 2002, in Wood County, Texas, the defendant's deferred education probation was revoked, and the defendant was subsequently convicted of the aforementioned burglary of a building on or about... Yes, it is from a clerk, Lauren. I'll hold it up here. Hopefully you can see at least some of it. I will be sending you all of these documents as soon as I'm done. I had to get them in order first. On or about April 22nd of 1998 in Henderson County, Texas, the defendant was adjudicated delinquent for injury to a child. I'm not sure what that means exactly. On May 4th of 2007, in Wood County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of capital murder. The victim was Brittany Mcglone. Yes, absolutely we need to. I totally agree with that. I question why a lot of people are out still walking around, Warren. This is crazy. Honestly, it's crazy. But here we are. So, on or about March or April of 2006 in Wood County, the defendant did commit the offenses of intimidation and harassment. I don't have a victim name on there because it's crossed out for protection of the victims. On or about February or March 2006 in Wood County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of conspiracy to commit retaliation. On or about 2000 in Wood County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of criminal mischief, destruction of property. The damage was done to a home co-owned with by the defendant and the victim. I'm guessing they were probably living together. And then on or about 2000 in Wood County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of cruelty to animals. The victim was the stepson's cat named Felix. On or about 2000 in Wood County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of conspiracy to commit burglary. On or about September the 7th of 1997 in Henderson County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of family violence assault. On or about 1994 to 1995 in Henderson County, Texas, and Wood County, Texas, the defendant did commit the offense of cruelty to animals. The victims were numerous stray cats and kittens. When they arrested him, he was in Dallas. So I'm assuming he's back in Dallas, but that's something I definitely want to know where he's at. He is absolutely a serial abuser. There is no doubt in my mind about it. Just hearing the stuff that he's done to animals was a lot. Just a lot. I'm looking for his date of birth on here right now, actually, because okay, I thought I had all this put together so nicely, and it's just not now. Yeah, he absolutely was building up to homicide, and if that's already been committed, it's going to happen again, if not already has happened again. I will definitely be posting his date of birth and all of that stuff whenever we're done. I will dig it out of the court website. It's not hard to get to at all here. Basically, it's saying that whenever he arrived that morning, that the Brittany's boyfriend and his dad were working on a pickup truck that they were getting ready to drive to go pick up the relative in Dallas. And that was when he stopped by to pick up the W-2. He knew Brittany was there. He knew she was there. He was not surprised by her being there. Anyway, Carr stated he never went in the house that morning, but because he's trying to say now that he's been in every room of that house, sat on every bed in the house, and So his DNA is probably everywhere. He was picking up his girlfriend's W-2 for her. That's a good question, Sarah. That's something we definitely need to start looking into if we can tie them together. Um, here's a little bit more of a timeline. I know this is maybe a bit tedious, but it's pretty important, I think. Um, they did look at the boyfriend for a while. I told you that before, because of some text messages that were on his phone from a girl that he had known since junior high. And, she basically said that they'd had a flirty relationship, but had never been romantically involved, that it was never anything like that. And that, okay, they were basically being accused of a one night stand between Mcglone and McCoy, and I'm not sure who McCoy is. That's something that is not clear on. I think I'm missing a page here somewhere. Yep, I'm definitely missing a page. Okay, I will ask for that later and get you the information on that. But she had been accused of that, but they had just been going to the same bar together, and McCoy was able to account for his full day on May the 4th. He'd been at work from 6:30 in the morning and got home around 6 p.m. And that Investigator Burge, along with Deputy Lane, met with Carr at his residence on County Road 3990, where Burge obtained a shoe print from Carr. I'm guessing there was a shoe print found at the murder scene. That's who I need to find out who McCoy is. I'm not positive. Okay, they were saying that they had had a one-night stand while Mcglone and Stogner were separated, Brittany and Jeff. Yeah, we do need to make sure that, if this is something that can be prevented, absolutely, it should be prevented. We shouldn't have to wait until a serial killer is a serial killer before we stop the problem. Hi, Miss Patricia. Thank you for hopping on. I so appreciate it. McCoy was a family member of a couple Brittany was friends with. Okay, good deal. Okay, Miss Patricia, do you know where Carr lives now by any chance? Okay. Okay. Hi. Just pop it up there anytime. It's fine. On May 17th of 2007, this is regarding the polygraph of Chad Carr. Investigator William Burge and Lieutenant Tucker traveled to Shamrock, Texas on the day of May 16th. On the 17th, they picked up Carr at his job site near Briston, Texas. The trio traveled to the Amarillo Police Department, where Carr submitted to the polygraph examination. The polygraph was administered by Detective Jeff Hiley. During the exam, Hiley asked two relative questions to Carr, those being, did you cause any of those injuries that resulted in Brittany's death? The second question was, are you the person responsible for causing those injuries to Brittany that resulted in her death? Carr answered no to both questions. After the exam, Hiley analyzed the charts in which he stated he used a standardized numerical scoring system. Hiley then advised Carr that he had failed the polygraph and that it was apparent he was involved in the death of Brittany. Carr's response to this was he couldn't have killed her since he had given an account of his day and that he did not have time to kill her. Carr continually recounted his activities of the day, saying that all of his time was accounted for. Carr didn't deny killing Brittany after he was advised of his failure of the test. Carr's responses were that he couldn't have and that he wouldn't do that. Hopkins, Hunt County. Okay, so he was living in the Hopkins, Hunt County area and working in Dallas when he was arrested. Okay, I misunderstood. I thought he was living in Dallas. Okay. How old was, let me check and see if you already answered that. Okay, yeah. Lauren was asking how old was he whenever this happened. Goodness. So he could just be anywhere over here and nobody would even know. Absolutely. Did he do drugs? Probably. I don't know the answer to that for sure. On the 21st of May in 2007, search warrant of Chad Carr's residence. Lieutenant Tucker was granted a search warrant by the 402nd District Judge Boswell for Carr's residence located on County Road 3990. Upon executing the search warrant, several items were located and taken as evidence. Those items include the following: one pair of white shorts with several drops of what appeared to be blood, a gray ski mask, white t-shirt with possible blood, one pair of socks, and 2 pairs of panties. The panties were described as one size 7 pink, the other one size 5 white. 3 pornographic magazines were also taken. That's not too surprising, but May 22nd, Lieutenant Tucker made contact with Devery Borland, that is Jeff's mother, in reference to the underwear, the panties. Borland advised her that daughter Velva did have a pair of see-through panties at Carr's house. Tucker believed the panties in question were the ones recovered on the search warrant, pink, size 7. Tucker also made contact with Patricia Tice, Brittany's mother, who advised that Brittany wore a size 5 panty. So if his girlfriend wore size 7, and he's got a pair of size 5s, obviously they are not belonging to the same women. This was at his residence, Lauren. They found this stuff. His search warrant of his residence, not his vehicle. But the underwear obviously came from somewhere else. On May 23rd of 2007, Tucker attempted to verify Carr's alibi from his interview on the 5th, May the 5th. Tucker traveled to Dr. Wharf's office in Winsboro because that was one of his things. He said he went to the eye doctor. Spoke with several staff members there. Donna Hooks, the receptionist, stated that Carr called the office prior to his appointment and advised he was having car trouble and would be late for his appointment. Shannon Ellison advised Tucker that she specifically remembers Carr coming in at 10:20 a.m. Carr's appointment was at 10 a.m. and Carr didn't mention anything about having car trouble in the interview. Tucker also spoke with Wanda Hawley and Villa Wood, who also both stated that Carr was late for his appointment on May the 4th. After speaking with the staff at Dr. Wharf's, Tucker traveled to S&J Construction and met with Carr's boss, Scott Andrews, in reference to Carr's visit on May 4th. Andrews advised that Carr did stop by that day, but it was approximately at 2 p.m. Carr had advised Tucker during his previous interview that he had stopped by S&J Construction right after taking Velva to school and before his first trip to Alco in the morning. So 2 p.m. and taking someone to school in the morning does not match up at all. Excuse me. During the follow-ups and trying to verify Carr's alibi, Tucker kept track of the time frame from location to location. From location of the murder to the parking lot of Dr. Worf's office took 5 minutes while traveling at 70 miles an hour. From the parking lot of from the murder scene to Carr's residence on 3990 took 12 minutes, traveling Highway 37 to CR 4730 and then to Highway 312. Travel time from the Alco to the murder scene took approximately 6 minutes. According to the Alco surveillance video, Carr left the Alco at 9:21 a.m. So he was 24 at the time and was dating a high school student. Interesting. On July 19th, 2007, Tucker was granted 2 search warrants, one for the vehicle that Carr was believed to be driving during the course of the homicide of Brittany Mcglone, and another for the Carr residence. Tucker was asked by the Wood County District Attorney's Office to allow Texas Ranger Philip Kemp to process the vehicle. The vehicle was seized and transported to the sheriff's office impound lot. The search warrant for the residence was not executed on the 19th. On July the 20th, Tucker executed a search warrant and obtained a pair of eyeglasses that Carr was believed to be wearing during the course of the homicide of Mcglone. Tucker served the search warrant on Carr in the CID interview room. This encounter was recorded. Oh, you and me both. You know, they were all adults according to the law, except for the one that was actually dating Carr. On January the 8th of 2008, Tucker met with Devery and Velma Sapp and Kelly Borland at the sheriff's office. That is Jeff Borland's, I get mixed up. There's so many names in here. Stogner, I'm sorry. Jeff Stogner, Brittany's boyfriend. Thank you. Hi, Paula. Yes, so Jeff Stogner was the boyfriend, and his mother was Devery Sapp, and his sister was Velva Sapp. Kelly Borland was, I'm guessing, the stepfather. Yes, I agree. Definitely, there's a web going on here right now. Velva advised that she remembered him being very nervous when he picked her up from school the day of the murder, and that was when she leaned over to hug him and realized that he smelled like her body wash. That was when she had asked him if he had taken a shower, to which he replied yes. Velva then asked Carr if he had showered at her house, to which he never replied. Velva advised that they went toward the house, and Carr got on the phone and tried to call his grandpa. Carr then called his aunt, Cindy, and told her she needed to come over to Velva's house, the murder scene, because he didn't need to be there by himself. It's very unusual for Carr to make the statement that he doesn't need to be alone at the house. To my knowledge, neither Carr nor Velva had been notified by anyone about what had transpired at the Borland residence. Okay, the younger brother is also named Kelly. Got it. All right, so he's now basically saying, he doesn't want to show up at the house by himself. He was fine showing up there that morning, obviously, to pick up the W-2. He's not going to be there by himself. He's there with his girlfriend, but suddenly he wants his family members to show up over there with him. So that seems to be highly unusual already all in itself. Um, anyway, he would have had to have some knowledge of the gruesome murder that had occurred. Upon arriving at Velva's house, the murder scene, Velva immediately turned to Carr and asked, "Where the fuck have you been all day?" Velva advised Carr immediately, "I couldn't have done it because I had an alibi." He then proceeded to tell Velva where he had been all day. While speaking with Devery, she confirmed this information and also added another piece. Devery advised Tucker that Carr never told her Sorry, I'm having a really hard time reading a few of these things. Told her no for anything she had asked of him, but on the day of the murder, she wanted to leave work early so she could go clean the house before her mother arrived. Devery asked Carr to come and pick her up since her husband and Jeff had the truck. Devery stated that Carr told her no, even though he was in town all day. Devery advised that Carr's only reason for saying no was because it would make Velva mad. Devery and Velva also provided a possible motive for the murder of Brittany. They advised that Carr was always mad because Brittany was allowed to stay at their house overnight, and that Velva and Carr had asked several times for him to spend the night, but he was never allowed to. I don't know, maybe having a teenager and an adult sleeping over in the same house would have been a bad idea. Sorry, my sarcasm just cannot help itself during that. Velva advised that Carr was furious about the fact and became increasingly angry about it leading up to the murder of Brittany. Velva also advised Tucker that in the 3-page statement that she handed him that she recalls seeing Carr's tire tracks by the mailbox on a little patch of dirt, but didn't say anything at the time of the murder. Velva wrote that looking back on the day of the murder, Carr was acting nervous and kept smoking cigarettes one after another, and he couldn't stop shaking, so it made her feel really uncomfortable. Well, that's what I'm saying, Sarah. Why would they let him stay there? But at the same time, he's throwing a hissy fit about it, and, you know, that's where the girlfriend states that maybe that was his motive for the murder. She also stated that Carr kept his dirty clothes in the trunk of his car the weekend of the murder. I mean, I know sometimes guys can be really not all that clean, but if that was an unusual thing for him to tote around his dirty clothes in the car, then that's definitely a red flag. Supplement report from William Burge, unknown date. Burge advised that he had worked several tips on the case involving Wayne Mays and him having something to do with the murder of Brittany Mcglone. Several tipsters had advised that Wayne had the name Brittany written on the wall of his bedroom. Burge stated he did several follow-ups and found that Wayne had a girlfriend named Brittany and the two had a child together. Gee, could be why the name was upon the bedroom wall. Okay, well, that was what I thought, Patricia, that was the only time, that was the first time she'd ever stayed over there after work, and she was going to be there all by herself, so it was not even a question. Like, it shouldn't have even been an issue with him. It's not the same thing. So they ruled out Mays as a suspect. They talked to a Cody Dunn, who was supposed to deliver some marijuana for Stogner on the day of the murder. Dunn advised that Stogner had contacted him several times that day, and it became an annoyance. He stated that he was going through some family issues that day and didn't really want to mess with Stogner, so he told him he delivered the marijuana so Stogner would quit contacting him. Dunn advised that he never went to the Stogner house that day. Burge states that several months into 2009, Sheriff Wainsley and he presented the case to the Sheriff's Association Cold Case Division. Burge stated he made it a copy of the entire case and provided it to the members for review, and supplement from Miles Tucker, unknown date. Tucker and Jacob Richardson conducted an interview of Wayne Mays, and Mays denied any involvement with the death of Brittany Mcglone. There was no reason for any of that. They didn't use a polygraph on him or anything, because none of the stuff that they were being tipped off on was really connected to him in any way. Says here, after taking over this case in the latter part of 2021, I've interviewed numerous persons who have claimed to have information into the murder of Brittany. It appears that several of the people were interviewed since 2007 are the ones that I have interviewed again, and no new information has been gained. There were several people who advised that Gary Romine Jr. had told them he had killed Mcglone. This information was proved inaccurate. Romine showed to be incarcerated in the Texas Department of Corrections. So he was in jail when it happened. It was not something that could have been him, I suppose. Absolutely opportunity. And just the fact that he had committed so many violent crimes before, especially with the abuse of animals involved and abuse of a child, it screams murders on the horizon. That's all I can think is this person should not have been out walking around that day. He should have already been locked up. I'm not going to read through all this because it's a lot of rabbit chasing by the sheriff's department due to tips that they were given, that they ran down, and they all ended up in dead ends. There was no way that these people could have committed the crime. When he began going through the physical evidence that had been produced in the case over the past 15 years, during my review of the physical evidence collected, this is from the sheriff's statement, during my review of the physical evidence collected from the crime scene, I observed that there was no mention of a pair of women's panties, which I found to be odd. I reached out to Mcglone's mother, identified as Patricia Tice. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Miss Patricia. If not, please correct me. And asked her if Brittany was known to not wear underwear under her pants. Tice advised that she believed Brittany wore underwear. I also found it odd for a young female who had a manual labor job to not wear underwear, and believed that if this were the case, that due to the physicality of the labor, there would have been signs of chafing or irritation. Yeah, lots of chafing. Blue jeans are not your friend when you're running all day long. And that's what she was wearing. I'm trying to find on here, were her underwear missing at the scene? And apparently they were unable to locate items 48 through 50, which would have been the underwear in his possession. "10 years in evidence room, I guess, can cause some things to go missing." Anyhow, I think that is... Okay, that was what I was trying to figure out, was if her underwear were missing, and he has 2 pairs of underwear, obviously that's extremely damning evidence right there. Okay, I'm going to stop right here because I think we need to continue this on next week. We've got to go over some more, and this is entering into some territory with other relationships that he was in. Kind of like any other serial killer who usually collects trophies. So we need to really take our time, and I need to go back and try to find some more information on this case. Maybe talk to several other people that I would kind of like to speak with the sheriff that was investigating. Yes, a witness list and talk to some of them. Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you're not, I'm one of those people, I've never felt comfortable sleeping naked because I always had this irrational fear that the house would catch on fire. I wouldn't have time to get clothes. That was, so if someone ever found me sleeping naked, you would have to know that something had gone wrong. And since that's, what she was like, and she did not, and of course, also sleeping in someone else's house, I don't think that she would have felt comfortable, sleeping naked with nobody there, but not knowing who could possibly walk in the room. So that wouldn't make any sense really anyway. Carr have anyone in the position that could interfere with the investigation? That's a good question, Julie. I do not know the answer to that. Other than the fact that, according to this paperwork, he was represented by someone who is now in the district attorney's office that was in the public defender's office. And I don't know if that presents an issue or if that should have been a disqualification, change of venue. I don't know. Something definitely went wrong here. So are we, that's also a good question. Why was she invited that morning knowing that he was going to be leaving there? Yes, I agree. I think that's definitely something that, if one of my daughters was invited to someone's house, knowing they weren't going to be there, that would make me extremely uncomfortable. I don't know if I agree with the boyfriend having anything to do with it, but I do think it's strange that they asked her to come and stay there when they knew that everyone was going to be gone that day. Unless it was just hey, this is closer. And I know coming back from the Lowe's distribution center, Winsboro would be closer than Quitman. But yeah, no. And honestly, once our kids turn 18, they're kind of going to do what they're going to do, but we would definitely advise them otherwise. And possibly she would have thought about it and think, that could not be a good idea for me to be there by myself. And if they knew she was going to be left alone there, then they probably shouldn't have invited her. I don't know. I don't know what their conversation was regarding her staying there. Yeah, I don't blame you. Even if he didn't do it. And who knows, maybe at the end of this, we're going to find out everybody is involved. We don't know. He obviously left her there alone, and Chad Carr had access to that room somehow. So if Chad Carr was not allowed to stay in that house, Was the doors unlocked? Did he have a key? How did he get into the house that day? Those are all questions that, that brings into play. Were there other involvement from family members from Stogner's side? And, it's something that it really is not clear in any of this whether or not how he got in. Yeah, no, we definitely agree with you, Paula. I am absolutely in agreement with you. I do not understand, and because it's at a grand jury, nobody gets to know what evidence was presented, and I don't know how to find that out. So if anyone has any ideas on how to find out what got presented, what got eradicated, please let me know, because I would like to know myself. I know of a few other cases that should have gone very differently than they did, that just never got indicted. How long had she been dating Jeff? Is the next question. Because I see your questions, or your statement, Sarah, where you would go sleep at your boyfriend's house while he was gone because you lived an hour apart. Winsboro and Quitman aren't an hour apart. They'd only been dating 6 months. I don't know. I just don't know. I know sometimes relationships move faster than others, but I don't know that I would feel comfortable staying at my boyfriend's family's house. Okay. For, if after only dating for 6 months. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get off of here for today. We've got a lot of work to do this week, so I'm going to be here in town all week this week. Oh, you lived in Winsboro, not Quitman. I thought you lived in Quitman and the boyfriend lived in Winsboro. I'm so sorry. I did not understand that. Okay. So you were only just a few minutes then from each other. So there was no time saving for him to, for her to stay there rather than going to her own home. Yeah, I have so many more questions than I started this with tonight. And I thought I had all my answers right here in these papers. But no, there's still so many questions. Well, Miss Patricia, Miss Paula, thank you guys both for coming on tonight. I hope that you will come back again, and hopefully we will have some more input, some more information. And yes, I agree. Those people need to talk. They need to spill it. And I don't know if they are being intimidated by Carr, or if, like we said, there's also the question of, did they have something to do with it? And it just couldn't be proved. Again, I am so sorry. So sorry that, just that one time changed everything for you. And I will see you guys next week. And y'all stay safe out there. Lock your doors. And make sure that, if you see something, say something. And I will be talking to y'all. Miss Patricia, I will probably be getting a hold of you and Miss Paula and see if we can maybe meet up for coffee somewhere this week. Oh, Lauren wants to know who called it in. I believe whenever I read the documents, it stated that the boyfriend found her, but the dad was yelling, call 911. So I'm not sure. So that's something that maybe we can. Devery called 911. Okay, so they were all back home then at that point. Huh. Alrighty. Well, let's see if we can maybe meet up for some coffee or something later this week and get ready for next Sunday. All right. Good night, y'all, and just be safe. Thank you so much for sharing the tragedy of your daughter and niece with us, and I hope that we say something that triggers someone's memory or their conscience, one of the two. Y'all have a wonderful evening and be careful. Bye-bye.